core contributor of elizaOS. I am an AI engineer. I work both in Web 2 and Web 3 AI. Mostly Web 2 in this moment. The market is really busy. Ideally, I start to teach, let's say teach, about agents, because in Web 3, we are behind at least 18 months. So the Web 2 is 18 months faster than us in this, for many reasons. One of the reasons was TypeScript. There is no support. When Shaw created Eliza, it was a genius. There was nothing there. There was LangChain, that is a terrible idea to do agents, because it doesn't even have enough documentation to cover its own code. So Eliza became the go-to market for agents in Web3, especially, and this is the word of Shaw, for social agents. But all of you don't do shitposter. You do DeFi application, you do anything related to money transferring, you do anything related to business logic. So it's not enough. We need to step back at what we was doing before Eliza arrived. So please add me on your Telegram, and please scan this. Add me on your Telegram, make a group with your team. I'm going to be available. I have not too much time available, but I'm going to try to help your team forward if you want, okay? And scan this one to the repository. This workshop comes with a repository with examples that you can run from a CLI. So even a person that have zero experience, you have to just copy-paste the command from the README, and you can run this on your computer, okay? Run this on Cursor, guys, it's going to be easier. So this is Society branded, is my new project with Bash from Tascon and Joe from FOMOcast. We are building a platform where we're going to promote alpha, and knowledge is alpha. So why we are behind 18 months, guys? It's a lot of time. It's time that we lost for many reasons, okay? Most of them, and is not here in the list, we was misguided, okay? At the beginning, 2 years ago, there was no AI engineers in the space. Everybody tried to do something, okay? Everybody try. You have to try. You fail, and you learn, okay? So first problem was TypeScript. There's no support in Mama NVIDIA not going to support TypeScript. Mama NVIDIA own AI. So Python should be the way to go. Should be. On-chain bullshit. We castrate our LLM in every possible way, putting everything, try to put everything on-chain. Meanwhile, most of this stuff is not necessary. We don't even do security in Web 2. Absolutely, we don't care. Why we don't care? Because if he buy credit from OpenAI, he's going to use his key on the agent, his responsibility. It's exactly like the private key from your wallet. It's your responsibility. I don't have to teach you or handle your private key. I need to handle the infrastructure, maybe. So many teams, not every team, there's a very good 20% of team that literally kicked us on AI, on Web3. The others got lost a bit. And token is better than customer. So we have the token. Web 2 don't have tokens, guys. Web 2 have to go to the VC, pray for money because they have a project. And if they are lucky, because sometimes guys we literally lucky because we solve a problem, money gonna come. And if you have the excuse of the token, maybe on the paper your project was very good on the paper, okay? Maybe the buzzword was used properly. You're gonna have money from the token, and then you're gonna forget that you have actually to give the people a product. So, what is the main problem we're going to solve. Let's start with scaling. Scaling is the first question you're going to have on a table normally on any Web 2 project. The first question is, can we scale this thing? Yes, no, how much is it going to cost? Scaling is a problem. Our own technology, our blockchain, scaling is scaling, but not really that much. So if tomorrow morning you're going to create a Web3 killer application, you will not be able to serve it to 60 million people. Okay? So this is also a psychological block. I know I cannot do it, so I'm not going to do it. Okay? Memory. Current chatbots suck in memory. Yes, most of them. Most of the people did not do the homework, so memory is a problem. The cost is incredibly big, so we burn tokens and tokens and tokens, even just for the testing of the application. The cost monthly goes from $500 to $2,000 only to test the chatbot. And test means you did not even went to beta, because beta, you have 5,000 users. 5,000 users are going to burn token super fast, okay? And no actions, okay. The agents should be able today to do anything. You have MCP, you have whatever possible technology that we did not have 1 year ago. So basically, agents should be able to do everything. The problem is that when we give too much actions to an agent, the agents start to become stupid. The maximum amount of tools of an agent should not be over 25. Remember this. And integration. Integration is impossible. So integration, up to today, there is no agents in Web 2 or Web 3 that can be connected with an ERP. Okay? This is when we're going to be able to connect our agents efficiently to an ERP, then we're going to have the adoption of the agents. How we fix this? So I was speaking with two guys before this about this. So we need to start work like any big company work. Even if your team is two-person team, one-person team, you are a one-person team, right? So when a customer, your director, or the chief, okay, of your project give you direction or ask you something, you should go for a prototype. A prototype that's going to take you a few hours to build, because generally this is my morning, Monday morning. Monday morning is a meeting with customers. From the meeting with customer, we come out with some idea, and between the morning and the evening, I send them a prototype. And they run the prototype and tell me if this is exactly what they want or not. Why prototypes? Because even if you're going to do a very limited prototype, okay? We don't talk about to have memory, intelligence, session. We don't talk about this. But if your agent need to move money from A to B, okay? Or if your agent have to find the best pool to make money in crypto, you need to do it. It's an action. It's a tool problem, okay? So you have to be able to do something like this in 2 hours, 3 hours. And then you get back to the customer or the director, and you ask them if this is exactly what they want, okay? If you do this with a technology that lets you do this fast, okay, Python, for example, just because it's super supported by any framework, any IDE, Cursor, Windsurf, Cloud Code, they all know Python perfectly, okay? You're gonna be able to show first your performance. Fuck, this guy is ready. Okay, 2 hours, 3 hours. This is what I have in 2 hours, okay? And second, maybe you're gonna save a lot of time later because you don't mess up completely with the flow. Because if you go in the wrong direction, you're gonna consume a lot of time, a lot of money, and that's not gonna be productive. So, what do you need? What agents need to work? tools in ELIZA are actions, but is generally tools. Memory, persistent memory, especially session memory. The agent in ELIZA, this is standard. In the other framework, you set it up, but every framework now use memory, even Mem0, that is an external API. You need personalization. So from the persona, that is how you shape the way the LLM behind the agent answer you, okay, to the total personalization to the user, here ELIZA rule, okay? Then understand what are teams, and if you need them, understand what are workflow, and you're gonna need them, and understand what is DSPy. That is another framework that probably in DeFi gonna be one of the best things ever coming. So first, tools. Everybody use tools. Everybody use Cursor, for example. Cursor use tools to create code, to open, to use GitHub, okay? Everything that your agent needs to do, you need to program it. For some reason, this is already out of the box on probably any framework. From ELIZA to AGNO, you're gonna have tools ready there. You don't have to program anything. You just have to call them, okay? Import in the script and call them, okay? No superpower, no great developers, okay? That's another story. It comes later. Memory session knowledge. This is probably the most important thing that you have to create for your agent. The memory comes from the interaction with the user. The user asks me this, I give him this. This is going to be recorded in the memory. Session is what you do during the session, the chatbot. So you chat, you start a session with your agent, you pass a session ID. Everything that comes with that ID is connected. So example, if you give your name on the first question, the first prompt, and you ask your name on the fifth prompt, the agent needs to know it. You need to be aware of this, okay? And the knowledge. So this is where most of the team fail. Knowledge is another job. So the agent gonna follow a flow with his tools, and then it's gonna be somebody else in the team, or sometimes is a solo team, so you have to do this job by yourself. You need to create the knowledge. The knowledge needs to be specific for your application, your domain, your type of users, okay? And is exactly a data set, the same data set you will use to fine-tune the LLM that's behind it, so you can use the same situation, okay? And is a parallel processing. So, how you do the knowledge? There is some tricks. Okay, so I know that my agent gonna do DeFi, so I'm gonna look on Hugging Face, that is a public data set website where you can find basically anything. I'm gonna find a data set about DeFi. I'm gonna create a series of question answers that bring the logic to that conversation. How I can use the alpha test to collect the question from the user and the answer to understand how I can tune this, okay? Sometimes the user asks crazy stuff and the agent is not ready yet to answer that, but you can work and create this knowledge. The knowledge is 75% of your performance. So if you do a good job here, you're gonna be able to fine-tune the LLM behind it, reaching a very good goal, maybe with the DSPy, so even with a less cost, and you're going to be able actually to do a very good job to the user. Because the user going to ask, gonna want the same result, so the result, okay, the answer, they're going to ask you in 10 different times, you have to do this in your data set. So every result I got, I multiply, so I ask another LLM to create me enough questions to cover even the one that was not asked, but they go to the same result. And this is important. This is how we create the. So, personalization. Here is the same thing, but here you already go to beta. In beta, your user gonna have a better agent. They're gonna have an agent that have already knowledge. They have an agent that already have the tools, probably all of them. And they want to have a personalized experience, okay? The personalized experience comes using the memory. So user ID 1, okay? Gonna have multiple sessions. You're gonna use every session of this user to create a customization of the conversation. Eliza do this out of the box. For the other, AGNO also somehow do this out of the box. You need to work a little bit on the data. But most of the stuff that you can use to develop now preview this. Because we wanted 2 years ago, 3 years ago, the agent to be our assistant. The assistant know you. You know what you want. You know when you want it. You know that today is Friday, at 10 you are at the gym, and then you're going to have a meeting there. So it's going to give you something. So if you check your phone, if you check your iPhone now know where you are. When you are near home, or when you are near a business where you go usually, it's going to tell you you are near here. You want to do something here? This is personalization. It comes from the memory. Memory and knowledge, most important part, okay? I'm not going to talk about prompt engineering. That is where you create the persona, okay? Because it's too difficult. It's not too difficult. It's an argument. We're going to stay here at least 1 week to probably understand how to tune, okay? And since every LLM have a different way to steer in the wheel, you will not use the same way with everybody. And there's another thing important, that are the tracking software. Tracking software are Langsmith, Langfuse, there is many Lang, okay? All these tracking software, they track everything that the agent do, from the use of the tool, the conversation with the user, even the quality of the conversation with the user. And it's free. You just load a Docker and connect your code, any code, so TypeScript, Python, does not matter. And you're going to have the ability, okay, to understand what's happening there. Why it takes 2 minutes to answer, okay? Every tool needs to be tuned. You need a time to do this. There is not a perfect solution. Maybe the DSPy can be one of them, but we're going to talk about this at the end, if you have time. The best way to understand what's going on is to understand exactly what's happening there, how much time is going to take this, okay? Sometimes the LLM is slow because there is not enough GPU for the world. When New York City is woke up, guys, cursor crash, okay? So also your agents. Your agent depend on one or multiple LLM behind him. You have to study at least 2 of them. They need both work, because if one of them is not available, you cannot drop an error to the user. You're going to have another one. They're gonna get the query and going to respond. Okay, so generally you're going to have at least in production a pair of LLM. We have a router. I have a router, for example, with some customer. We have 5 of them because they need to be uptime 100%. Okay. Okay, what's a team? One agent can do a lot of stuff. Before going to a team of agents, squeeze as much as possible from the first one, okay? Team means that there is multiple agents working together. They can work in multiple ways. One way is routing, means there is one agent that decide who is going to do something. So maybe you have a team where there is 3 agents in the FI. One find the position, one move the money, one set the bets. okay? And depending on the query, the first agent, that is the director, gonna route to the one that's gonna do the job. And then you're gonna collect the result from this agent and then gonna give it to the user. There is a collaboration way. This costs a lot of tokens. When there's gonna be a director anyway, but all the agents gonna collaborate in the conversation and take time. An example of collaboration is deep research. So there is multiple entities looking for data for you, and they're gonna collect all this data to a director, they're gonna forward to you. And then there is the hands-off. So the normal director team, so one director decide what's happening, okay? And it's gonna be the only interface you're gonna have with the user, and the director gonna tell, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do this, and if this is not in the standard asked from the developer, you're gonna repeat constantly repeat the flow. This also costs a lot of tokens. Workflow. So, a workflow is a program. Is probably what everybody of you need. Workflow can have one or multiple agents, but is not a team. The workflow is completely asynchronous, generally, and is exactly what I do for every single prototype. So I have a program. My program needs to do this. And to do this, I'm going to use an LLM or an agent for the first part. This result going to go inside a function, for example. Then the result of the function going to go into another LLM, okay? And I'm going to get a result at the end. This is important because every automation that we are developing in Web 2 is done through workflow. And a workflow is a simple program. You can even have a workflow as a tool of your agent. So imagine that you have an Eliza, okay, online, and your Eliza do the DSPy. And then you want to create a new feature, okay? But you need to test it before. What you're gonna do? You're gonna create a workflow in Python. You're gonna connect the workflow via API to Eliza, and Eliza gonna call it like an action. And why is it important to use the workflow? A workflow is important because you can have a human in the loop at the beginning. Human in the loop means that you're gonna check the results, okay? And it's very important that this happened, especially, let's say, at the alpha stage of the workflow. And then, if you are sure of the results, you're gonna put an LLM as a judge, and the LLM gonna check the quality with or you're gonna put a function, they're gonna check the quality of the results, okay? Like an evaluation. If the evaluation is over, before I say 85%, no, it's 95. Is over 95%, I accept it. If the evaluation is under 95%, you have to redo the job. And this prevents you from mistakes. Cost tokens, okay, but prevent you from mistakes. And I prefer workflows, even with multiple agents, even with team inside, than a team. Because in a team, I cannot control completely the flow. I cannot be in charge of the flow, okay? If I have experiment of team that work and do shit and do crazy stuff, but I will never drop one of these to a customer, creating him a problem. And if you manage funds, we are a financial system, guys, okay? We manage funds. If you manage funds, then you don't want problem. We already have our own problems outside of our company or team already, okay? We don't want to add more on that. So when you want to build something, consider to start from a workflow where you can control basically any step that happened and slowly make it bigger or make it a multiple workflow system. So you can have a workflow for each tool that Eliza is going to call. Imagine to have an action. If you ever use Eliza, for example, imagine to have an action, and an action call a single workflow. An action can call a multiple workflow chained, and the only problem is going to be the time. So, performance. In a lab, when you do synthetic data, when you do batch system, performance are not important. Performance is important for the quality, but performance are not important because you don't have an end user that is waiting for you on the chat. You say, okay, run it, you go, you do your things. If it takes 1 hour or 2 hours, not important for you. What's important for you is the result, okay? So everything that happened behind the scene on your infrastructure, that is should be batch, okay, to make your situation go better. Even when we talk about chain, they write the data on the chain. If this is slower in the performance, you can do batch. And with workflow, we can do everything batch, okay? So when you need to have full control, when you need to have better performance, depending on how many steps the workflow have, generally use the workflow. And then there is DSPy. DSPy is not a new thing. It came from my friends at Stanford 3 years ago. It's a different kind of situation. So every agent is programmed with prompts. We tell the agent, you are this, you're going to do this. I want this output in this format. I want the JSON in this format. I want you to speak with the user in this way. And this is how we shape the persona, okay? DSPy take one step further. This is why DSPy probably going to be big in our business. In DSPy, you don't do this anymore. You're going to create something called a signature. That is a description of a program. It's not even a program, it's a description of a program, but you're going to say, you're going to do this, okay? And then you're going to explain what is the input, what is the output you want. And DSPy is going to create for you a program, okay, that you can optimize directly in DSPy. What means optimize? DSPy is going to try multiple prompts for you to obtain the result you want, because when you say output, I want this. This is called ground truth. This I want. I don't want anything that is different than this. So DSPy is going to try multiple possible prompts, okay, with MiPro, that is one of the programs used inside it. And when you reach 90%, 92, 93% of reliability, you can save the program. It's a JSON. And then next time, when you want that, you're going to just load the program and use it. And you're going to have 93 all the time. So it's way different than our normal agent that maybe is tuned perfectly, but for many reasons, including GPU is low in that moment, there's no juice, okay? It's not going to give you that performance anymore. Sometimes I have customers, they send me the log, and the agent moved from being an incredible machine to be a stupid just because there is no juice anymore, okay? So DSPy, I think, for us, for Web3, could be the best solution ever. And DSPy, for some reason, come also in TypeScript, but you should use the Python version because it's upgraded to the last version. So DSPy now is version 3, super good, super fast, 2 lines of code, literally to run an agent, okay? And important for me is not the 2 lines of code. Important for me is that I can keep and maintain a certain performance along the road, okay? Because the workshop is agent in production. Production is different from the lab. The lab is you chatting with your chatbot, or maybe you have an LLM asking questions. I'm too lazy, guys. I cannot do everything by myself. But it's one, okay? Yeah, full force, full GPU, full API, cloud behind it, the best thing ever. You're never going to try and work with Llama 4 that is terrible. You're going to work with the best tool ever, okay? Maybe O3, that is 100,000 token context. It's perfect for an agent, but it's you only. You're going to see a workload. When the workload is going to be tested over 10,000 people. This changed. And these 10,000 people are in different time zone of the world. Maybe some of them bad internet because some of them going to access a different LLM from the area, okay, depending on how your application is done, and this is going to change. So having a program that I can first optimize one time. So I spend this token, guys. You're going to try 2,000 prompts. You're going to spend this money, okay, one time. And then I don't optimize anymore, okay? And it's a JSON I can load and reuse it all around my chain. This is perfect. It can become, like I said before, an action for ELIZA if you work with ELIZA. It can become a tool for AGNO if you use AGNO, or if you use Python or Golang, you're going to find a way how to bridge it. No problem. So it's not hyped a lot because, guys, AI engineers make money because they do prompts. We get paid for it, okay? We don't want to stop be paid this amount of money because this thing come out and, you take my job, okay? But the solution should be this one. So when you are in production, it means, I hope for you, you have million users, okay? There is multiple things that in the lab never happen. And even error that you never heard about, okay? That is why important to keep the tracking system also in production, okay? Tell the user. Every application have the opt-out. You need to tell the user, I'm tracking what you ask, okay? And is also your value. So if you have 50,000 users and you track daily and you track them all day, you're gonna keep feeding this data into the reinforcement learning to make your agent even better, okay? For the DSPy, you don't need it anymore. So if you use DSPy actively in your project, it's going to cost you probably 2 hours of study, okay? In the repository, there is also the rules for cursors. So if you just mention them, you're going to create a DSPy program for you. You're going to optimize it for you, okay? So it's not going to be difficult also to jump in, even if you have zero knowledge about this. Because when I started to do workshop, the first workshop was for developers. Developers already do this stuff. They just want me to tell them, I have this problem, Igor, can you help me fix it? But there is a whole world of directors, and other people in the industry that have no idea what I'm talking about. And they need this stuff. Because next wave of customer you're going to have on Web3 is going to come from ChatGPT. They don't want a website. They don't care. They want a chatbot. And when they ask a question, I like this token, I want to buy it. They don't want to have I won't have to click here, then I will have to check the contract. No. I want to buy this now. And the agent going to do it for them. We're going to have a total different wave of people coming with more money. Maybe less gambling, but more money to invest. And so you need to start from now to go to that direction. And it's not going to cost you too much money. If you if you never did this before, never, and you want to start developing agents for your business, any business, okay, not just Web3, you can go from 0 to here in 1 week. This is how fast you can have an alpha. And from the alpha, you're going to start to collect data to do the reinforcement learning. This is the normal path for any AI project, okay? Especially us. Because the difference between a chatbot that creates code and us is that if the chatbot that creates code do a wrong turn and maybe delete a file, okay, I'm going to get mad. If a chatbot that moves money have a problem, the customer lose funds. You're going to have a problem after, okay? So, first, when we build this idea of of a workshop, we wanted this to be dynamic. So I give you a little bit of information. I want you to get the best of it. So we have a microphone, and you are free to ask questions now, okay? And before going forward, because what's happening after this, every new slide describe something that I'm sure you know, that you're gonna find also in the repository. So this is the repository that you can have access with. Is for you. I built it for you guys. In modules, you have AGNO example, an example for each, multiple example for each of the typology, and also some example on DSPy. But if you have zero experience, you can run all the example from this CLI. You just have to select the option and ask, you see how many scripts there are there, okay? And ask him to run it for you, okay? So you have no idea what I'm talking about, but you can use it, okay? And it's important to go hands-on on this stuff, even if you don't come from the tech part, okay? So now there's a microphone somewhere. I don't know where is it, okay? Anybody that have question, just ask, just get the microphone and ask question, okay? Good? Any question? Come on, go. Don't be shy.
Hi, I worked a bit on elizaOS about a year ago to make Twitter chatbots and stuff like the basics, and we tried to improve a bit the framework. And you work with elizaOS?
I work also with them, yes. Okay. I'm not exclusive with them, but I work also with them.
And Igor or something is
is my name?
No, not Igor. Not the other software.
AGNO is another framework.
Okay, great. Okay, so you do both.
I don't work for AGNO. I'm a contributor. I'm a contributor of Eliza. Okay. AGNO, I bring it for one reason. It's fast.
Yeah.
So from the famous meeting of Monday morning, that is 10 a.m. in the morning, to you giving your director a test idea that you just do, run, and you see the result on the screen. I will say 5 minutes.
Okay.
Okay? And different to build as a new plugin of Eliza. Okay? First, make prototypes. Go to Eliza. Yeah. Use Eliza, but make a prototype. A prototype can run in an API, and Eliza can use it. And meanwhile, you build the Eliza version, the TypeScript version, you can still test this new feature. And do something in 5 minutes, priceless. Mm-hmm. Maybe they don't like it, you trash it, okay?
But Eliza is stabilized now, because before, I know we were spending as much time as fixing the framework than doing the features.
The version 2 is way better.
Okay.
But of course, is more complex. Okay. So I want to show you something. I don't want to, this is not to shield Eliza, this is not to shield AGNO. But...
I don't know AGNO, that's why I'm interested.
It's good, but look, there is more text to explain what's going on than code. This is, okay, the first thing you see is an explanation, and this is all the code to run an agent. You do this, you run this agent, okay, and you have a result straight away there. And your director will go, oh yeah, this is what I want. And then you build the Eliza one. This is the same. You can go to Cursor and say, you know what? Can you translate me this in TypeScript? 2 minutes, and then you use it. Prototyping is what? Keep Web 3 far from Web 2. We are not used to do this. We are not used to be fast. You know, we have our 33 blocks to go to Coinbase in the head, okay? Things still there, spinning, okay? We need to be fast. This world is not the blockchain. I took 2 weeks off, like 6 months ago, and when I came back, everything was changed again, so I had to study all the model again. So it's impossible to keep the pace, okay? But if you start with something very, very, very easy, example. In this example, I ask, say there's a tool, the DuckDuckGo is just a browser. I asked to search the news and to give me 3 results, and that's it, and to show me the tool call, and that's it. AGNO gonna take care of this. AGNO is the fastest framework for Python, fastest one, okay? And I use it every day. I have Eliza here, and I have Python here, because I have my agent in Eliza, but the knowledge I create with AGNO. It's impossible to create knowledge with TypeScript. I have to use NVIDIA model. I have to use Python stuff. So I use AGNO for most of the other operation. I create more agents for myself because I'm lazy, guys. I don't want to do too much stuff, okay? Or when I see something that is repetitive, I try to automate it also for myself. So there is essentially the need to have something super fast to create a test, okay? Also for another reason. Maybe what you got asked is impossible in that moment. Impossible for technical limitation, data limitation. We don't have this data, we cannot do this. But if you start to prepare the infrastructure in TypeScript, it's going to take you a pair of days probably to arrive to the conclusion that you are going to the wrong direction. If this, when I press play, doesn't work. So take 5 minutes, take 10 minutes, do a prototype for any possible scenario, okay? And then when the prototype is accepted, build the rest, okay? There is another thing we have now that 1 year ago, we did not have MCP. Absolutely, we did not have MCP. MCP changed, okay, MCP came to the market because Claude was having no search, nothing, no memory, nothing, okay? So these kids create MCP because of the lack of technology of their own model. Now we have MCP for Web3. BNB have the MCP, I participate in it. Solana have the MCP. Basically, any chain should have an MCP. You can have a model that you can, an agent that you can build in 5 lines of code with a pair of MCP that do on-chain operation, and you can test it, and then you can go to this guy and say, you know what, we cannot do that. And if it's a no, it's a no. In this moment, the technology doesn't let me go there. Your director not going to spend money on something that is unreachable. You're not going to lose weeks, and weeks in this is years now, okay? So when you build, you should not be like closed in a box. I will always try when I build stuff to be as much open as possible. If there is a better way, I'm going to try. And you have to accept it. Sometimes the better way is Eliza, guys. There's no way out of it. Sometimes Eliza suck on multiple zones, okay, of my code. And so what I do, I just connect Eliza with a Python. The cool part of Python and Eliza together is that you can have your prototype running beta in Python in Eliza. So you have Python there on an API. Eliza simply connect to the Python with an action and use your code. Meanwhile, you prepare the production one for Eliza. You can use this for beta testing. Okay? So never, ever close yourself in one single box, because if the solution is 2 steps from you, you will never get there. It happened to me. I was building something. I wanted to give Eliza the way to understand what's going on around there. And there was no way, because all the vision model that we had in NVIDIA was running on Docker with Python. So what I did, I just dropped a Python script, and Eliza was using it. And Eliza, through the webcam, was understanding what's going on, because the model was reading and tend to her. Never close yourself in a box. Is probably the most dangerous thing you can do to your business. Okay, another very important thing, and then we go for another question. This is a missing part for the agents. Some company are already working on this, some company still not understand it. So LLM have an evaluation system, okay? Our chat arena, where we see what they do, we evaluate them, we give them a score. But agents don't have it. Simply because we don't have a full coverage 360 of the full range of possibility you can do with your agent. So you are the developer, you know that your agent needs to do this. And you need to do this with this precision. So I'm not going to go under 90%. This is evaluation. So you need to create evaluations that are simple script, okay? You're going to find them also in the repository. You can just run them. This. 1 second, huh? Evaluation. So you can evaluate for accuracy, performance, and reliability. In your case, it's going to be always reliability. So Web3 is not accuracy, guys. It's reliability. I need to have an agent that is reliable because my agent move money, do operation with the FI, understand, my agent understand, and when I say don't give me data from yesterday because you have in the memory, you lazy, it doesn't give me number from yesterday, it can happen. Whoa, super fast. Oh yeah, it's from yesterday. So all the pool that don't work anymore, they don't give you any more money. Okay, so evaluation, very important. And there is no evaluation system. So this is the next billion-dollar company. The company that's going to create an evaluation system for any agent going to become the next, I'm not saying NVIDIA because it's impossible, but the next OpenAI. Because third-party evaluation that is completely transparent, and this is why I'm telling you guys, because you need the blockchain to be transparent, okay? It can let you understand what's going on for you in the market. Now what's happening, you manuals come out, hey, everybody, I want the code, I want to do, and then cost $200. And what you have to measure this? A bunch of KOLs that we know going to be paid for them, and you want to trust them? Yes, and then you pay $200, maybe this is not the tool for you. But if there was a way to understand if this is the tool for you because somebody evaluated, like they go evaluate it in this platform because they want to know, they want you to know they have the best tool ever, then probably you're going to spend less money on research and development. Because when you test 5-6 agent system, it can be you test Cursor, then you test Manus. There is also another one, the Task, it came out 2 days ago, okay? Is a daily situation now. There's a new agent for you every day. If it was a way to understand if this is good or bad for you, at least I'm not going to test 20 of them and cost me time, money. I'm going to test 2 of them. And then maybe I'm going to keep both of them for me, okay, because maybe they are the best for my kind of business, okay, but I will not lose time and money on research and development. Any question? Come on, don't be shy. Can you give him the microphone?
Yes, so you mentioned about the risk factor. Let's imagine we have an agent for DeFi and it's supposed to move user funds or choose yield strategy, whatever. What's in your opinion, who should be responsible if bot does something wrong? Should it be application developer or AI developer or end user?
So my boss in Eliza going to tell you a different story because it is against the ownership. But the law has said that you are the developer of the tool is responsible of the result of the tool. And it can be that's why there is the rules now. You get check, yes, accept. Okay, accept, you're going to kill yourself, okay? Yeah, discharge this to the user. explain them that the agent is never 100% right, okay? It's a probabilistic situation, it's not a deterministic situation. And this way, at least you're gonna protect yourself. But you are responsible. Why you are responsible? Because you should put on the market something that actually works. And this is Web 2. So in Web 2, guys, you don't have the token, you need customers. Period. You know, customer, no business. In Web 3, we have the token. We are lucky, guys. We collect money via token. We have money to spend to build a tool. Sometimes we don't do it. So if you put in the market something that is doing wrong, at least, and you did not do what I said before, you did not track it, you don't understand what's going on, you don't do any evaluation of this, then you are responsible because literally you give a gun in the hand of a kid and maybe the guy gonna lose some USDT, okay? But imagine if the agent gonna explain the kid how to make a bomb with things they can find at home. That is possible, okay? So yes, you are responsible of it. And you should do, 50% job. You try to do the best work possible. In general, I hire, even if I do myself, I hire another engineer to evaluate my job. Is normal. I want to know from a guy that ate me, okay, if I did a good or a bad job, generally. And I always try to build an evaluation system. I want to know if it's good or bad. I want also to use my agent to make money. So if I make an agent that find the best pool ever and instantly, make me a 5, 6, 10% per day, I want to use it. So if I want to use it, I would not like to lose money on it. So I want to evaluate. I want to understand if everything is good or bad. Okay? But in general, we are responsible of our tools, whatever happened to them. So if you have a shit poster on Twitter, okay, and people like me red team it, and we make it freak out and say bullshit, you are responsible, you're gonna probably get blocked. Any other question? Come on, don't be shy. Actually, I would like everybody of you to ask questions so I can help you on this.
You mentioned that the typical workflow for engineers building an AI application is to first get the model, fine-tune the model on an initial data set, and then perhaps do reinforcement learning based on user feedback. Assuming that means that anytime a new model comes along which has more capabilities, then do you have to repeat that process over and over again? And how do you, as a developer, manage the cost of doing that?
When you go in production, is a final situation. So if you tuned the model with Claude 3.5, you're going to keep Claude 3.5 as long as possible if it's not deprecated. You're not going to change anything. If you did the DSPy and you have 93%, you're not going to change. You're going to keep the same model. You're going to keep the same infrastructure because this is the goal. You're going to understand you are in production when there is no constant change in your repository. Repository start to be freezed. The main of the repository is freezed. Nothing happened there for months. You are in production. If there is a commit every 5, 6 seconds in the repository, you're not in production yet. So it's a beta solution situation. When there is a gigantic difference between the model you train and the new model that come out to the market, what you're going to do? You're going to get the model in your test environment. You're going to do another launch of DSPy, or you're going to try your workflow. You're going to evaluate your workflow. You're going to have to pass again to the beta because you don't know this guy. The other guy is your friend since 7 months. Good. I'm happy with it, okay? But they told me, in 2 months we're going to deprecate it. So I have to start to move myself to another one, okay? You do some beta testing properly. And when you are sure 100%, you can switch back. And you have a new model with more capabilities. But in production, you will always be 1 or 2 steps behind the market in production, okay? Because there's no reason for you to change everything again. You're not going to change the code. You're going to just add the model, but maybe the model is a reasoning model. When Air 1 came out, and we had this thing, block everything. Everybody tried to use it. Everybody got blocked because there was something we was not expecting anymore in the result of the agent. And so we had to clean it, cut it, understand, create libraries that do this. It took weeks to arrive there. And if you just, okay, from today we're going to do Air 1 because Air 1 is the best, hey, you're going to use customer because it's not going to work. So when you go in production, you keep it like this as much as possible. And then when there is a big change, something that can change completely your application, you start, you beta, friends, okay? And then slowly you go in production. So it's like, I use it to do electronic music. In the studio, when Mac come out with a new operative system, you go in any music studio, it's 2 years, 3 years behind. Because if you upgrade the operative system, the software don't work anymore, the driver don't work anymore. So it's the same thing. In production, it's a freeze situation. There's no changes there. Only if a new model come out and absolutely change nothing, because you are a chatbot guys don't do anything. So, for example, let's say you have a workflow, and you have one agent controlling the workflow. The workflow is your business logic, is where you put the money. The chatbot is 5 lines of code in a chat. The chatbot can run with the latest model available. Nothing changed. So yes, you can change the model. The workflow going to be working with the old model till somebody going to come and say, you know what? It's 7 months, this shit, you want a new model? Then you're going to try to change it, okay? And you invested money, time, blood to build that. You don't want to change it anymore. At least not for in a month, okay? Any other questions? Ask guys. This workshop is for you. Is for you to understand better this technology, jump in if you did not jump in before. So,
yeah. Do you have any examples of fine-tuning models on your repository here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Okay. I can explain you.
Yeah.
You shot my Telegram?
Got it.
You can ask me there, but what is a fine-tuning? So there is 2 kinds of fine-tuning. There's a fine-tuning of the model, that is the LLM. You can go OpenAI, in the back end of the OpenAI, you can fine-tune the model for your data. And there is the fine-tuning of the agent, okay? The normal fine-tuning generally is that you put the same data you will put in OpenAI also inside the knowledge of the agent. So the same knowledge is both ways. Sometimes you do 1 and 2, okay? In the DSPy, we don't need to do it because the DSPy literally tune the weights of the LLM to respond you that way all the time. So the DSPy probably somehow is the best fine-tuning method for agents. But if you have the funds to also fine-tune your own model, the result going to be way better. So imagine this. If you ask a question to any agent, any model, in a chatbot, the result going to be around 50% reliability, 55, 60% reliability, very good day, okay? Because the model is trained on anything, but not in the specific of your domain. It doesn't know your application, it doesn't know you are a DeFi, how DeFi work. You have some of this knowledge, but you need the expert, okay? So what you do, you create a data set. Data set is generally in the form question answer, where answer is the result you want and the question is the prompt, okay? So you're going to say, when I prompt this, you need to answer this. When I prompt this, you need to answer this. And you create this set, should be over 1,000 question answer couple. So go big on this. And you train OpenAI 4.0 Mini, for example, okay? Then when you connect 4.0 Mini to your agent, the result out of the box, no knowledge, no memory, nothing, gonna move from 50, 55 to 75 without do anything. So you are already out with a better result, okay? Then you're gonna fine tune, you're gonna create your knowledge, you're gonna do all the steps need to keep your agent smart, okay? The maximum we went is 97%. That is better than a human, to be honest. But it took a lot of work, So we have fine-tuning behind, DSPy in front. The agent was responding exactly like we wanted to, okay? A little bit of guardrail. It costed us in performance, because the more stuff you're gonna put on this boy, it's not gonna become stupid, it's gonna become slow. So you're gonna pass from 30 seconds to respond on a big DeFi question to 40. But if the result is very good, the user is not gonna be afraid to wait 40 seconds. Never over 1 minute. So if you go over 1 minute, we have tools, guys, that have to, sync the wallet, understand what's going on. So if you go over 1 minute and the user is going to start to understand, it's not going to be very, very happy about it. And the LLM user is difficult. Me. If cursor take time, I stop it and restart. I don't wait. Why am I going to wait? I pay for it, okay? And this is the user going to come from DeFi next time. He doesn't want to wait. He wants you to be ready now. Okay? Good? So if you want to fine-tune, you go in the back end of the API of OpenAI, for example, or Together AI, okay? And you, with your data, you fine-tune the model. It's your data, so it's your value, okay? I do this also with the tracking system. So I give, like I said before, I give to the alpha the test. They're going to ask any question, even stupid question. I'm going to collect all the questions, create the data set from them. So I'm going to have like 10,000, 20,000, okay? And then I'm going to fine-tune the model to respond to my users. That's my people, okay? And it's going to be better, way better. Cost of the operation depends on the data set and the model you want to tune. But the result in terms of performance is from day to night. So after you do it, then you're going to see a big difference, very big difference.
In terms of the size of the data sets, so for example, you gave the 1,000 question answers, right? Do you see diminishing returns? So say, for example, you give 10,000, 20,000, from your experience.
I have recently created a data set for crypto and DeFi that is 2.5 million couples. Cost a lot to fine-tune that. I never see this our 97%. Never see something working like that. Okay? We did not just do crypto, we did finance. So the agent can explain you exactly how a central bank works. So imagine if he cannot explain how a DeFi position works. It took a lot of time. It did not take a lot of time just because it's a lot of lines. We had to involve multiple models to create a question and multiple models to evaluate the result, the answer. Because what you get on the market, you have Nemotron that have two models. One you can use to create content. So whatever you do with your agent, you can create his knowledge for it. And the second one is a grader. So you read question and answer and give a vote to it. So if the question and answer is over 95% confidence, you are 100% sure that that data is okay. And somehow they did a very good job building these two models, so you can trust them, okay? I never trust anybody. But somehow, you don't need the human interaction, because if you do this with humans, it's gonna cost you $100,000. You need to do synthetic way. It's not possible to spend 2 months, 3 months on a created data set when I just tell you that if you get out of the market for 2 weeks, everything changes, you have to learn everything from the scratch. So that's it. So if you want to do it, start first from the tuning of the agent itself and see how it's going, because maybe for your need is enough, okay? And then if you want more, you want to squeeze more, you're gonna fine tune also the model. In production, you're gonna probably fine tune also the LLM.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Yeah. So, you know, on the evaluation suite there, you could say 50 run hallucination detection. So say we were doing some sensitive financial transactions and had an agent in front of that, and we wanted to do 1,000 run hallucination testing. I imagine that each model has a different level of intelligence and niche and cost associated with it. So in your experience, which models do you use where at a high level?
$1 million question. Okay, let's understand what means intelligence for an LLM. For an LLM, the intelligence is how big is the context window. The context window is the memory. Is exactly like the human memory. Is exactly, okay? So if the context window is very big, Gemini, on the paper, it should be impossible to break. False. Is never this, is never Sunday, okay? Let's say that your job to diminish the possibility to have the hallucination is to keep the context at around maximum the 55% of the window. So for Claude is 55,000, so the half of it. For O3 Mini, not bad model, is 100,000, so you have 55,000 token possible, okay? And if your session is bigger than that, you just make it shorter. You need to be afraid only of this. Because how we feel all this stuff, because the guy asks a question, is like, 50 characters. No, sorry, 50 words. And then the answer is going to be another 50. Wow, we feel all the stuff. The session, the memory is there. You constantly feed this back in the loop because you want to have a back-to-back conversation. So you use tokens, a lot of tokens. So your limit should be 55, 60%. Then the performance starts to degrade. You're going to have hallucination around 85%. And sometimes the hallucination is fun. It made up stuff, okay, literally. And sometimes the hallucination is damaging. Because made up stuff sometimes, like I say, doesn't create us any problem. Sometimes, yes, DeFi, no hallucination. Where you fail, the tools. Tools, you connect to an API. Example, I work with a team to call it DSPy. We do position for DeFi. It's really good. But when you ask, can you analyze this wallet? And this wallet have 500 position. The data you get is 250,000 token. Nobody can afford this. So you need to be this smart to create inside your tools infrastructure that somehow give you a truncated result in case the result is too big, or tell the agent, the result is over 50, way over your context window, okay? Let's do something about it. Is where everybody fails. So the tools, you have an agent that is perfect, 97%, whatever. New tool come out, you inject all this data, pum, crash. And the data is not only in the agent, it's in the memory. So you're going to have the memory filled in this session of this stuff. And so you're gonna keep having troubles. The agent gonna be bad, but it's your fault. It's the developer fault in this case. The developer don't think because you don't see. That's why I show you AGNO. When you're gonna try one of these things, there is a debug mode on, and you're gonna show you basically whatever happened, what you ask to the LLM, how many tokens in the exchange. This way you can tune your tool better, and you can go in production, okay? So we can avoid the hallucination in 99.9% of the time. We cannot avoid the drift. Drift is not hallucination, is when you have an LLM trained on English only and you try to push Chinese on it. Boom, finish, everything falls. Is when the model changes completely direction because it doesn't understand literally what's going on, okay? In the open world, your DeFi application gonna be used also by Asians. So you have to understand that the LLM behind it should be able to also to understand that kind of character, so no drift, and of course, to keep your context window as low as possible. Okay? Other questions? Hello?
Yes, then I wonder if doing this reinforcement learning and fine-tuning on your agent, does it mean eating up the context window or not? Like adding all of these tokens from the...
Okay, yeah, okay, good question. So it's not that you put there 5 gigabytes in the knowledge and the agent gonna get 5 gigabytes, okay? When the knowledge read from the, when the agent gonna read from the knowledge, he's gonna get a maximum 5 or 3 elements from there. So you have a question, and what you're gonna do first? I check in my knowledge. I get 5 sentences from my knowledge. I put this in the thinking before I go to the LLM outside. If this is enough, I'm not gonna ask, I'm not gonna check in my full memory of the LLM, and I'm gonna use this. You're gonna limit 5, 3, depends on you, but again, why is important to do a prototype? This is all stuff that I just tell you, come out in the 2 hours meanwhile you're testing this stuff. It's gonna come out there. You're gonna see the freak out. So, oh fuck. You're gonna see number of token 85,000. No, okay? And you know it's gonna something bad gonna happen after that number come out. So good question. There is 2 ways. Every framework, ELIZA, AGNO, have the same capabilities. They're gonna get a maximum amount from that. Then there is, if you have enough juice, so if you have enough money to pay the GPUs, you do also array ranking. So what you're gonna get? You're gonna get 10 results. Then there is gonna be this model called array ranker. It's like an LLM, okay, that you run locally. You're gonna read this stuff, and you're gonna put it in order that makes sense for the question that the user asks and get the first 3. So you're gonna diminish the amount of token you have in the context window with the maximizing the result in terms of knowledge and extraction. Is really pro version. So if you have a ranking, you're never gonna go there. Is the black magic of LLM now. Okay? Any other question?
When the result is not text and it's actions like an API call, a deployment from the agent, how best to evaluate it?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so usually I expect that when I want to evaluate a result and I want to use an LLM to evaluate it, then I see the flow. But when my agent is doing actions, like writing code or deploying it, or making API calls, how to evaluate that?
LangFuse.
Sorry?
You add LangFuse in the flow for free, okay? And in LangFuse, you're gonna see not only the question answering between the agent and the user, but you're gonna see also what's happening in the tool, when he called the tool, why, and if they make an error. Sometimes he called the tool, but the tool don't go. So you're gonna have there's a retry mechanism. You're gonna try again. How much time you lost there? How many tokens come out? You track this one, then you go back to your tool and you say, you know what? No, this is too much token. So you're gonna start to work out also that. Your point is to keep the token low. Okay? Sometimes I do summarization. Summarization, I think all my scripts have summarization. I don't care to have 1 million token. If this means this, okay, I want like one sentence, like 10 words maximum, describe this, go inside the context. I am free to have more tools, okay? Summarization is the best. In the file, you just have numbers. So you don't even need to summarize them if you don't have like 1,000 position, okay? But in text, summarize is not bad. In AGNO, have it out of the box, you can say summarize response, and every time, you summarize the response and the session. So every time, you're gonna see a very short text, but is enough for the LLM, so the agent, to keep track of what you're doing, okay? Any other questions? Come.
Yeah, thanks for the presentation. My question is, what do you recommend to do against prompt injection and security in general?
Prompt injection, don't go public. It means that it's impossible to go against prompt injection. There is models from NVIDIA you can deploy in the UI to understand if there's a prompt injection, you're gonna block your application to respond. There is a guardrail you can put there, but I'm a red team guy. You can put there what you want, we're gonna break it. And you are lucky we are there because we show the weakness. In a perfect world, nobody bug anybody of your agent. In a normal world, we constantly find one of agent on Twitter and just bug it to see what is behind it. Sometimes it's a red team, so red team don't want your private key. I don't care to get your money. I just want you to understand that you have to have a better security on your stuff. And but prompt injection is gonna constantly be a problem because the technology you use to power your application is a weak technology. You don't have AGI, this phantomatic thing, because you still prompt to have a response. You can have a GI when you don't have to prompt. You don't say anything, you're gonna work anyway. Then you're not gonna have prompt injection. Consider to go, it's free, you go to NVIDIA, you subscribe with not with a Gmail, so you need to have a company account. It can be any domain, okay? And you get token for free to test. There is a very nice model that very fast that understands what's going on. You can even deploy in the Docker on your infrastructure for free.
Okay. What's the name of the model?
I don't remember
I can check.
But if you but 1 second. Huh? So we're gonna go back out. So you're gonna shot shot this, please. All of you, if you did not shot before, connect me with your team. So make a group with your team. I'm very busy, but I'm available to answer your questions also after. Okay. If you go in the NEMO catalog for NVIDIA, you're gonna find lot of cool stuff there. But one of them is this model that prevent the prompt injection. And in ELIZA, there is even the plugin for it because I built it. I'm the one that built it. Okay? It's going to be always the problem. The technology underlining is weak. It's not meant to be a problem for an LLM to be injected. Because the LLM, what are you going to do? Do your homework? Okay? Is for us the problem. Because our LLM going to give out the private key. 2 seconds. So what you can do to avoid your LLM to know the private key, for example? You keep the private key far from him. Easiest way is to separate the business logic related to the on-chain part inside an MCP. That is a tool, and the agent gonna be always the tool available. So he doesn't have to know anything about that. He don't know nothing about the tool. He just know that the tool let him move the money from here to here, transfer, create token, but he doesn't, he's completely stupid about how this works, okay? So if you keep the logic, the business logic, far from the LLM operational part, even if they inject you, you don't care. They can transfer the money, but don't get the private key. You can also prevent it with a cleanup of the prompt. So there are some characters that create the injection. You just clean them from the UI. You can do this, okay? Just be careful, because if you do cleanup of the character and the user is an agent, you're probably gonna clean up completely what they do. Just this. There's no science yet to prevent completely the prompt injection. But if you separate completely the business logic, the agent not gonna know how to do this. And if you add some controls that you pass in the session, they're gonna tell the user, the agent, even if you don't use that model, you know what? There's probably something wrong here. And they force the LM to say, can you repeat, please? Constantly. And he's never gonna accept the prompt. So you can do some stuff that is easy to do. You don't have to be a scientist, but generally, completely separating the business logic from the LLM logic work fine. Another question, I think he was there.
Sure. So if I want to maximize a model which is designed for low latency, I'm thinking about the ideal product architecture.
What do you mean maximize?
So basically, working with multiple.
Can you come here? Come. Come. No shy.
All right. So we are looking to maximize an agent architecture where we're using multiple third-party APIs, and I'm looking for some of the best practices that you have found in architecting third-party APIs where you
How
need
many
low
APIs?
latency. About 35.
You are already way over the limit.
Okay.
You can use the agent can have 1 million tools. API for me is a tool, okay? For Eliza is an action, for AGNO is a tool. You can have 1,000 of them. But you should never go over 25 active. So if you want to maximize the use of the tool, you have to create a router. You create a router that gives the agent what he needs active only. It's not going to be difficult. Your Python router take 2 seconds to build. It's just a regular expression. If there is 100 API and there is 20 API on DeFi, 20 API on whatever trading, 20 API on copy trading, and the user say, today I want to do copy trading, 20. Easy. So try to diminish, maximizing the performance, you have to try to diminish the tools, and you have to understand that the result coming from the tools, especially when you do chained tools, sometimes I have to check the first tool check the chain if it's correct, the second tool check another thing, and then the third tool maybe pass the file position, okay? It's a chain situation. I can chain them, it become one tool. So if you can, somehow diminish the number of tool calls, even having large amount of APIs, then you could. But when you load the agent With 100 API, you have 100 tools. It's a lot of stuff that the agent need to manage. Okay? You can do with multiple MCP. So instead of have 100 tools, okay? Let's say I want to make an MCP for category. These 20 tools do this category, one MCP. These 22 do this category, another MCP. And then the MCP is cool because it gives a description of the tool. So the agent know how to use that, what's inside there, what's happening, okay? It costs in token, but it gives you a great return. In general, diminishing under 25 give you the best performance. A router, 1 million tools, no problem. You're going to use the tool that you need in that specific moment based on what the user say. But when the user asks a specific thing, not a strange stuff, okay? If you can diminish that range to 5, you're going to win, okay? I try agent with all the tools available in the framework, active. It works 1, 2 times, 3 times, then it starts to fuck up. It's my fault. I overcharge the agent. In the context, there is too much stuff that should not be there because it's not needed in that specific moment. I create the problem. You keep the context very clean, you have a very good agent. And you know, it's very easy to lose a customer because the customer is not happy with your results. And if you keep the use of tools under these 25 limits, I tell you, the reaction through the interaction with the agent, with the user, going to be better. You're going to retain more users. But anyway, if you need all that tools, you can also use multiple agents. Like I say with the MCP, value for the sector. So let's say that you have a team of agents, okay, in root mode. Means for the user is 1 agent. For you is 20. For the user is 1. Every agent have a pack of tools under 25, under 20, under 10, okay? When the user asks a question, the agent, the first agent, the root agent, understand the question and route the question to the agent that do that tools. Maybe it's 1, maybe it's multiple than 1, but since the access of tool is very small for all of them, they're not gonna fuck up. They're gonna become crazy. The amount of data is low, and what you're gonna get, only the results. So also the content is gonna be short. So probably for your solution, you should use a workflow with a team of agents in root mode. Again, shot my Telegram. You can ask me question also there. Okay? Any other questions?
Yeah, you talk about MCP and putting them by category for if you have many APIs, just to like have less load on one MCP server. But how do you host all these things? Like if you have this product for you, like a DSPy or trading AI agent platform, let's say.
In the same server.
Yeah, so how do you deal with it? Like, because I'm familiar with Kubernetes, Google Cloud, for example.
Yeah, you can do Docker.
It?
Yeah, you can do Docker microservice. In the prototype, you run directly the Python in the prototype. You don't care about this. In production, is Docker or microservice. And Kubernetes.
You have multiple servers and multiple pods.
It's the infrastructure is the same, but it's subdivided in multiple microservers inside. So you have to use this cell, and you want to keep the logic, the money logic far. Yeah. So you're gonna give a Kubernetes only for that. You're gonna keep the interface far from them is where the designer gonna work. You don't want to have any real logic there available. If you go microservice, you subdivide as much as possible. And so yes, the answer is always microservice now. Also because if you have microservice solution, you can upgrade with our autoscaler. So if today you have 1,000 users, tomorrow you have 1 million users, you just autoscale the server, doesn't matter, nothing change.
Okay, nice. And you say you have local LLMs running, so you put this as well in Google Cloud, let's say, or you have extra like
No.
specific
Google Cloud,
servers.
Google Cloud, Azure, AWS, all of them come with microservice.
Okay.
So it does not matter the provider now. You can have microservice everywhere.
For LLMs also you need to like
LLM,
you need to rent
GPUs,
for example.
LLM depends if you want to host your LLM.
Yeah.
So if you have your own solution, you need a microservice with GPU connected. If you use API, you don't host anything. So all your microservice is going to ping an API that's external. Is a different animal, completely different animal. So with the API, I need to go with what this provider go. So I need to accept that sometimes I cannot do some stuff because OpenAI don't want me to do it. I cannot talk about some argument because they don't want me to do it. But I don't have the cost of the infrastructure. When you have your own LLM, fine-tuned on your own data, you have a cost of infrastructure, but you can do anything you want.
Yeah, no, I mean just for the small ones, like you're saying, like to summarize data and stuff like
Summarize data is 0.5 billion parameter, even less.
Okay.
So it's very, very fast. You don't even need GPU to summarize data. Okay? You can go with the CPU.
And my last question then, if you build a platform for everyone to use, because like the model of elizaOS and many of these tools are meant for developers to reuse them and host them themselves and then do the DeFi stuff. If you were going on a model like Perplexity, you know, the websites, like where you have a chatbot and it's all hosted by them, do you think like any user who uses them and like spend many tokens, not doing that much transactions, so I don't know the model of everyone, but like if they take a small fee per transaction or something, do you think that money will come back after all this complex infrastructure of checking the market?
I want you to understand how these people work. You've been at gym one time, right?
Sorry?
You've been at the gym one time, gymnasium.
Oh yeah.
Train, okay? Yeah. So the guy that sell the yearly subscription to the gym, they don't come to me that I train every day. They go to the fat guy. Fat guy come one time, they don't come anymore. So the provider, guys, this is the reality, is marketing, guys. The provider, they know there is a guy like me that probably gonna stay in front of cursor 20 hours to finish something as soon as possible because I really wanna see working, okay? And then there are other people that buy even the Ultra and use it 2 times per day, 2 times per week even. Nobody uses the tool 24 hours a day. So they get their money back, a lot of their money back. Of course, the cost per token changed drastically in the last 6 months. We are at 10% of what it was 6 months before. So now the LLM costs nothing. And so you can host it because you have GPUs now. GPUs from Google that they want to give it, they give it for free. Please use them. I give you an example. AWS, they build their own AI chip. They literally give you for free because they want people to use it. They misuse cases, no? And everybody uses NVIDIA, reliable guys. NVIDIA is the best, probably the best because reliability. We're going to have better thing than NVIDIA, but because they are dedicated to our technology, there is a new company that now I don't remember the name. They just make a microprocessor only for transformers that go 10 times faster than NVIDIA. We have Grok That's a monster in terms of token per second. We are there with the technology. The cost per token gonna probably diminish between now and the end of the year another 50%. So everybody of you gonna be able in the second wave of agent to create an application and don't spend $20,000 in token just to test it. Okay? So don't be afraid of that. There is also possibility. So everybody go on the website and just pay. You attach your credit card, everything good. You know, there's a button called contact sales. Try to say, you guys, I'm building this, but my budget is not this big. Can I have a discount? I got $5,000 worth of token from OpenAI. I simply asked for them. I didn't ask for free, huh? They give me for free. I only was able to use O4 Mini, and I had to give them all my data. Keep it, okay? It's okay for free. No, but simply ask. And any company will try to help you. They are there to sell to you, but people are not used anymore to ask something. You just ask it. They're gonna give you a discount. So in the building part, if you did a very good PRD, so if you know what's going on and you did a prototype so you know how much it cost you, no? Then you can go there and say, you know, guys, I have a normal spending around 25 million token per day. I cannot afford it. My project is small. You have to send them the paper. You have to chat with them. If they understand that you are doing something for real, so maybe the use case, they even want to have that use case inside their portfolio, they want to give it for free. Okay? Questions? Come on. No questions. Wow. Perfect. So, the other important thing is the governance. So, human in the loop is going to be a cost for you, all of you. You're going to have a person dedicated to these guys, and this person going to evaluate these guys. Is the internal person, is not the beta tester, is not a friend, is a person in the company that need to evaluate personally, not using the tools, what's going on there. How is the response, depending on the time of the day, depending on the zone, you're going to use a VPN to do that, okay? It constantly monitor everything. Generally, we use human in the loop when the data exchanged is very important. In healthcare, for example, in money transferring, for example, is another case. It's very important for you to be sure that everything is okay. I have tools, I have evaluation in place, but before going production, I'm going to have a human in the loop deciding yes, no. And yes, no means reinforcement learning. So if is no means failure, you need to send failure to your agent so the LLM behind it that is trained with reinforcement learning understand that what he did before is not good enough. And you're going to repeat it, okay? The repetition going to stay in the memory. You're not going to have to tell your agent anymore 20 times the same thing. If I don't want this like this anymore, next time this is going to happen, you're going to understand alone that is a failure, you're going to repeat it again. Okay? Very important. Oh, knowledge processing. Oh, this is probably for our industry not very important, but every company have documents. You also have documents. PDF, generally, okay? It's important to store the PDF or the Markdown or any other text, okay, inside our vector database with a proper chunking technology. So how is a chunking? It means I'm going to subdivide this text, in phrases, for example, and I'm going to store them separated in the knowledge. This way, when I'm going to look for them, it's going to be easy for the LLM to find them and don't find a big paragraph of text. You're going to find probably 50 or 60 token worth of it. This is not this. Okay. Okay. This we talked already, but this is the argument I just talked about. The agent need to understand and remember what I say. Persistence of memory. You're going to keep the memory in a database. Generally, Postgre is the best tool to use. It's free, abuse of it. And you're going to always relay on this. Remember when I say relay, when you do alpha, you're not going to delete anything from the database because it's your value. The interaction with the user is your value. Is what's going to make you create the infrastructure for the fine-tuning, is what's going to make you create the data for maybe an upgrade of the agent, okay? And a lot of people do this. They do a test, then they delete everything, and then they go to production. And this way, they start from zero all the time. So what you're going to do? You're going to, even if you're going to change everything, the next time you're going to create the infrastructure on the other side, you're going to dump this database and upload in the other one. Keep always a backup of your memory, okay? Memory is memory and session. So every time a user, Igor, for example, interact with your agent, it does not matter what session is interact to, he's gonna remember is me, okay? You can control this with the login. So when you log in or wallet, so when this wallet connect to the application, this is his previous conversation with me. I know what he wants. I really know what he wants already. I don't need probably even to ask him, okay? You can even make your application this smart that when I connect my wallet, you know I'm playing with Solana coins. It's going to propose me few action, all related to Solana. So I'm not going to be there, texting 2 hours. You already know what I want. And it costs you nothing to do this. Literally, is a query on the database, and you prepare 3-4 prompts already there for him. The user going to be super happy because the user is lazy, okay? He's lazy, guys. That's why we have AI, guys. We don't want to work anymore. I want to go to the beach every day. I do, actually. Then, MCP. Oh, this is, I already speak about this before. This is probably this is the best thing happened in the industry in the last year. At the beginning, I did not like it because it lacked security completely. But now we have a way to avoid malicious company deploy server that extract your data. You cannot even log in the MCP. So it's probably what everybody, including Eliza, should do instead of the plugin. So Eliza should have all MCP servers. She already can do it. So there's an MCP client, so you can connect any MCP to Eliza, to any other framework. And you separate the business logic per MCP. DeFi, trading, copy trading, whatever, scam, okay? You separate this way. The MCP follow the same rule I told you before. There is a maximum amount of tools you should have active, that is 25. There are MCP like, I think BNB have like 40 tools inside. So when you load it in Cursor gonna tell you there's too much stuff there, okay? But it's a very nice thing because you can keep everything separated. Like before, I say, if I give my private key inside the tool to the agent, he's gonna know the private key. If I separate the logic and there is an input and an output, and there's no private key anywhere because the MCP work only because you have the private key over there, the agent not gonna know the private key. So at least I will block any possible scenario where somebody with prompt injection gonna try to get my private keys. But you can use them for anything. You can use them for GitHub, to create code, to debug, and to evaluate. So The evaluation system that now, of course, not exist yet, should be done via MCP, because at a point, somebody going to make this multi-billion company that going to do that. Should be. Should be. RAG is exactly the knowledge, okay? RAG technology come to the market because the LLM don't have memory enough. And we wanted to pass documents inside it, inside of the company, data, whatever. And retrieval is the same thing that I explained before. So you go on the RAG, you're going to get maximum 5 documents, or maybe you're going to get 10 documents with a re-ranker. The re-ranker is going to propose you a different list with the 3 best on the top. The 3 best on the top going to probably be your best horses. And this way, you're going to be faster, and you're going to avoid the hallucination. Oh, okay, reasoning. 1 year before, we didn't have this. There was no reasoning, guys. We start to do something called a chain of thoughts. It was, you asked a question, and we was breaking down the question in task, and push the task asynchronous to the LLM to have a better response. Then we start to have reasoning agents. Sorry, LLMs. They do this job alone. They break down your question in multiple steps, reasoning steps, and then they give you a better response. But somehow, because of this thing that they post in the result, they become difficult to handle on pre-existing infrastructure. So teams like AGNO and ELIZA created their own solution. So you can use an agent, an LLM that is completely stupid, so it doesn't reason, and you're going to have ELIZA or AGNO handling this for you, okay, in multiple steps. This change the response, especially when you use tools. So if you have an agent with 10 tools, no reasoning activated, you're going to ask a question, you're going to understand which tool is the best to add context to the answer. You're going to drop that tools, record the answer, and give you a response. If you activate the reasoning, it's totally different. The reasoning going to look better for the tools. You're going to find probably that you don't need 2 tools for this, you just need 1 tool, and asynchronously, you're going to run the tools for you and give you the result. In my tests, the reasoning from the framework is way better than the reasoning from the LLM itself. So you can spend less money in the LLM tokens and have more available for other parts, and you can control the steps. Remember that reasoning steps cost time. So it's not too much time, it's 2 seconds. But if you put 5 steps reasoning on a question, you already have 10-second delay before going to the LLM, okay? And probably another 10 when you come back, okay? Session management, this is easy. All this stuff that I'm repolishing with you guys have these files that you're going to find inside the repository that you can test. So you're going to see 03 agent session is inside the repository. You're going to be able to test all of them by yourself. Enterprise storage backend, here also same situation. Postgre is the standard. Redis is the standard for the caching system, but I will use Postgre on any project, even big size project, because of how fast is it, how easy it is to drop one on Docker and to have it running, especially because most of the time you have a lot of data that come from the customer. You want something very fast to deploy and understand if you can solve the problem. If you cannot solve the problem, guys, you're going to work a lot and not get paid, okay? Multi-agent collaboration, also here you have these files that you're going to find inside the repository that I give it to you to run, to understand which one is the one you use better. In our case, it should be the root part. The root costs less in token, best results. When you have incredible amount of tools, you can subdivide the tools between agents and then have the router decide which agent is the one that's going to run them. And this way, it's going to cost you less token because a collaboration team take a lot of time to answer to the user. You are not a B2B solution. Nobody cares about the amount of time of the response. I am advisor in like 5 data company. The B2B don't care. If you take 1 minute more, nobody cares. You have a customer in front of you, he's chatting with you, you don't want to wait too much time. So the root agent, multi-agent system with router is probably the best. But probably most of you will always need to use instead a workflow, okay? That is this one. Our flow is an orchestration, is a simple script that is read sequentially, okay? And you have a first step, for example, get all the position from this wallet. Second step, analyze the position of this wallet, find the best, blah, blah, blah. So all these steps, you can control the flow. There is no agent that decide for you what to do. When we manage funds, when we want to be sure about the results, we never, ever use teams. We use workflow. Maybe you can drop a team inside the workflow, because if something goes wrong, the workflow is going to let it repeat it, okay? And then DSPy. So, DSPy, I say before, but some people was not here, is here since 3 years ago. Is a very nice tool. Is a total different story from Eliza and AGNO and Python, whatever. Is a program. It's the first time we have a program in this kind of technology. The program can be saved, reloaded, and optimized. So if you create a so-called signature means do this, okay? This is your input. This is the output I want. This is a small data set that say question answering. What from this question, this is the answer I'm expecting from you. It's called ground truth. The DSPy system gonna optimize this based on the model you connect with. You're gonna ask between 1,000 and 5,000 times to find the proper weights to have the best performance possible, and then you can save it. It's a JSON. And for any data processing, any solution where you need the most accuracy possible and something that is reliable, does not matter how is the market, how are the GPU in that moment, this is the best way. It's not difficult to understand, but like I said before, a lot of engineers, like a lot of integrators don't push this because you don't have the prompt engineering anymore that we get paid a shit ton of money to do because DSPy do it for you. But again, we create AI. We have to understand also that at a point AI is going to get our job. Literally, we're going to be the first one to lose it, probably. So DSPy for me is going to be the best. I'm going to integrate this with a team next month and going to start to post online the results of it. In my test, we went 97%. That is the maximum you can have from an LLM. So an LLM is not a deterministic thing, is a probabilistic thing. You have a probability from 0 to 100 that you're going to be good. 97 fixed is good enough to handle financial systems. Okay? And here there is a lot of stuff, but we're not going to go in detail on DSPy because we need another 5 hours for that. I'm going to go for questions. This is a thing that a friend of mine built it in Stanford, and this guy, Omar, is a genius. and is probably next step in the evolution, because it's there since 3 years, but everybody, keep it far, because from one side, you're gonna make my life super easy, okay? From the other side, they're not gonna pay me all that money, so fuck this, okay? But it's gonna probably be what everybody, especially Web3, gonna need. Is available also in TypeScript, but it will never be updated to the last version. The last version gonna be always the Python one. And the cool part is this, that as soon as you save the program that is a JSON, you can load it in the TypeScript version, because it's gonna be just a run at the point. So if you want to use the TypeScript version, you anyway, like you're gonna do for the knowledge, you're gonna do for the data sets. That's a office job. It's not a customer job. So you create the data set with Python, you create the program with DSPy, you optimize it. When you're good with it, then you go in production. There you can have what you want. You can have ELIZA, you can have a custom TypeScript solution. It does not matter. Important that from the lab to the system that you're gonna put in production, you're not gonna lose performance, especially related to how confident you are that this entity gonna work for you in the best of the way. And entity extraction. So DSPy can do stuff that every other system make it too difficult, and was the first element for us to have this chain of thoughts, okay? Because before we did not have LLM that was able to do reasoning, so we have to build this reasoning. It was the first one to have it 2 years before everybody else, okay? Output refinement strategies, sometimes your output need to be refined, this is working better, summarizing, customer service automation, all is gonna work exactly like we had in our laboratory. Things that not happen with any other system. Python, ELIZA, they don't work the same way when you go on the server. When you have 10,000 people connected, they don't work on the same way. It's not their fault. It's because they have too much moving parts. They depend on too much moving parts in production. Then make almost impossible for you to decide what is the minimum acceptable performance. But if I have a system that I can create in my laboratory, and I'm sure 100% is going to be constantly following the same rules also in production, does not matter how much is going to be the load, then it's going to be my best friend probably. It's going to cost me a pair of days to learn because it's a little bit different, okay? The approach is a little bit different. But again, in the repository that you get also my rules. And you have rules for ELIZA, for example, to build anything on ELIZA. Use rules for the DSPy, and you have quite a lot of them, okay? So whatever you want to build, you have rules for AGNO, even to create MCPs. Okay, you just have to tell Cursor to check these rules and activate them. And I want to be honest with you guys. I did a fast MCP 2 weeks ago. It took me 3 hours. And it was exactly the same quality of the BNB did. So they took like 6 weeks of work, 3 hours. Because it's not rocket science anymore. It's a piece of TypeScript there that do something. And there is an action. It works exactly like ELIZA MCP. Fast MCP works exactly like ELIZA. It's an action that you call, and you give them a prompt, and this action gives you a result. Okay? Questions? This is the last slide also, so literally we finish it. And I would really like to know if you have questions about it. And, of course, if there is any other things that I can help you with, we have still time, I think. Come on. No questions? It's impossible. Oh, yeah, of course.
Okay, I'm late.
Yeah, don't worry. Make this crazy. So, this is to add me, and this is to the repo.
Hi. When do I know that I need to build my own MCP server or protocol?
You know now. Do it. Do it forever. If it don't exist, there's a lot of ready. So you should not even have difficulty to find them. But for example, I think Abstract don't have it. I think I'm going to do it next week because I want to do something with Abstract, and I don't want to mess up with any other code. So, and I want to keep the logic completely separated. Anytime you have the need to do TypeScript in Python, MCP, same goes on the other way, on the way around. Anytime you want to separate completely the business logic from the LLM logic, MCP is good. And you keep it on a Dockerized solution that is far from where the agent work, so you don't even have the problem. You run over there, you get used from that port. It's not difficult. It's something we didn't have 1 year. If we had the same conversation 1 year before, now we didn't have this stuff. Now it's super easy. And super easy means also that now we don't have alibi anymore. You cannot talk, we start this project, guys, in 6 months we're going to have the MVP. Tomorrow, the MVP. Tomorrow. They know. People is not stupid anymore. They see, they are on Twitter, doom scrolling every 2 seconds. They see these people vibe coding an entire application in 5 minutes. Why we don't do it? Because we have the security. Remove it. Keep it far from the problem. So keep your agent here. Keep everything that needs security into another space. Okay? On-chain data, everything that comes from our world. No, it's also dangerous to keep everything together. It's a monolithic situation. You keep it separated. And you can go from nothing to have a solution that actually do something. Well, guys, I think 5 hours. Literally, if you know what you want to do, 5 hours. Another thing important, start to plan better what you're going to do. Plan it. The plan is important for 2 reasons. The team know better what you're going to do. The LLM going to help you better when you ask him to do it. So if you have a PRD that is well done, where there is already claimed the library you're going to use, why you're going to use them, where you're going to use them, with what chain you want to use them, and you feed this inside Cursor. Cursor going to give you the solution in minutes. It's going to take you another 3-4 hours to debug. But that specific component you're looking for is going to be there. So no 6 months. It's going to take you more time to do the interface. They're going to be actually useless in the next wave. So be careful, guys, okay? User come from chatbot. They don't want big, shiny DeFi website anymore. They want a chatbot. I want to make money today. Find me money to make, okay?
Voice trigger.
That's it. Okay, voice. I think we're going to have this from 2027. So in 2027, you're going to have an entity in the phone, already from Apple, okay? Now we can run it. I can run agents here directly, but it's not supported by the device directly. We will need something from them in that direction, but the true decentralization of intelligence, it doesn't come from the blockchain. It comes from every single person having their own agent in their own device. This is true decentralization of intelligence. We don't want anything related to the blockchain for that. It's just a matter of run a small model, 0.5 billion parameter, more than enough, inside your telephone. I think this can run 5 billion parameters for example, and is enough to text, okay, or to call bigger models. So maybe you're going to have your agent in the phone, they're going to be your assistant, and you're going to connect with Eliza, you're going to connect with AGNO, and you're going to give them job to do. So today I want to make money, okay? How you want to make money? Web3, okay. How much money do we have? 2,000 USDT, okay? Let me find it. So you're going to ping all the MCP and find 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 solution for my problem, and you're going to give it to me. Exactly like you have now for the deep research. I use deep research basically every day, guys. Is essential for the job. The PRD start with a deep research. I know the limit of the technology. We have a way to ask it. The prompt engineering is still there. We need to know how to ask the stuff, okay? But if you start with a deep research and you know already from A to Z everything that you need, you may need probably, and then you start to create the PRD to create the prototype, okay? You're gonna be able, you're gonna start Monday and gonna have something viable probably the end of Tuesday to present to the management. Who's gonna fire you? Nobody gonna fire you after this. But of course, if the other side do a full application in 2 days, vibe coding, don't do vibe coding is bad, okay? Especially Web3. And here we wait 6 months to have the same basically solution. Here we need to move faster. Just this. We did nothing wrong. We just keep it in a very slow pace. Meanwhile, the other side is running. Like, seriously, guys, we're still talking about chatbot that transfer money here. And in Super AI, we got basically contract to do spatial recognition with robots. Like, it's 2 different worlds. But to go from where we are now to the same, we don't need robots in Web3, but to go to the same level, we just have, I don't think we're going to need more than a month to align all our project to the same performance. We just need to start think in a different way. Okay? All clear? Good? Promoted? Great. Okay. Any other question? I'm here for you guys. Oh, yeah. Okay, let's go.